What's up, y'all? It's Dan and Luke from Daft Previews here again. Apologies we missed you last week. Luke was busy working and I couldn't be fucked doing it solo. But we're back again. I'm actually feeling pretty good about this week. I put a bit more effort in. So I see some stellar performances out of us. Well, out of me for sure. If yours bets contradict me, you're most likely going to lose. But we're not going to go into too much detail on team lists. I might mention the odds, but I really want to get to the crux of the best bets. But before we do, there's some controversial things happening with our beloved sport, Luke. The first one is this mess on these high tackles, sin bins, send-offs. In the moment during the game, I had a problem with it. But then all the dust settled and I reflected back on it. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. Like, I can't really fault it. What are your thoughts on the matter? The high tackle fiasco. Is there a corrective?
Well, I did watch my favourite rugby league show, NRL 360, last night. And they brought up, Tallis has said some dumb shit over the last couple of days about salary caps. But he made a good point. It's like, you tackle him in the head, like you run the risk. Like,
true.
What they're craving is, like, perfection and everything's identical and identical results and penalties and whatever, but you're not going to get that. And like, you hit him in the head, you run the risk. Like, it's pretty fucking straightforward.
It's true. I think with like some of them clearly not. They're never intentional, I guess, but it's not like their tackling form was that bad. Like the Burgess one or the Potawaker one. The Brown one was a swinging arm. I thought that one, that wasn't damaging, but I think that was the worst attempt at tackling someone.
It was in the fucking air. Like, he launched himself.
He was in the air and he was swinging his arm. So that one was pretty straightforward. I was happy he sent off on that. Mo's one, it was the same tackle technique he does every time. He was just catching. He just caught and he did hit him in the head. So fair enough. I don't know, send off bit tough because it has a potential to ruin the game, and I don't think there was any intent really. There wasn't even intent to put a shot on. He was just So I thought that was a bit harsh. The Burgess one, there was intent not to hit him high, but there was intent to put a shot.
Correct.
But out of all of them, that was the closest to chest on head, and it was almost like the Moses one. I think initial contact is with the body, and then his head hits the shoulder as he comes forward. Because if that guy's like 120 kilos flying out of the line, if that was initial contact to the head, like, I don't care how big you are, you're done.
Dead. You're dead.
So I think they have to take that in consideration, like the initial contact, not the fact that it's direct contact. Initial contact to the head, you're taking the brunt of everything to your head. So
I'm just sick of this hearing this narrative going, that one was and that one was, like they sometimes like judge them based on like, they're good people, they wouldn't do that. Like, whereas Luai, like the media were like, fucking Luai got away with it. Luai's a grub and everything like that. I'm like, yeah, but if that was like Toto, for example, they wouldn't be hammering him as much as Luai. Yeah. Like, they just look at these players and
they're talking about his size. They'll talk about how small he is, and
yeah.
So,
but it's weird because that one there, I feel like he lost the ball because of that hit. Like, he
did. Even though it wasn't a big hit, I think the fact that it's so unexpected because he's already being tackled. Can you imagine being in a tackle and then getting hit in the head with the shoulder?
It's defenseless and clocked.
Yeah. But hey, welcome, boys. Lucky, Huncho, Bernie. Huncho's getting in hot. They're inconsistent. Good question he's throwing out. If Clockstead doesn't stay down, does Fodawaker get sent off?
Nah, I don't think so. I think there's an element of like the players down that is going to be a tougher penalty. Like, definitely.
Yeah. I don't like that part of the NRL because they always seem to do that depending on, and it's the same thing with hip drops, depending on how mangled the guy seems, that determines the punishment.
Correct.
So I don't like that. You should take punishment for the tackle, and that's whatever happens after, it doesn't matter. Like,
correct.
Nathan Brown's one was perfect. Like, there was no injury to Burbo.
Yeah.
And they just sent him off because of how stupid the tackle was. I think that's
correct.
fine.
Correct.
But Mo's one, I think the tackle itself, 10 minutes. but then they factored in the injury and all that type of shit, and they set him off. So I
Yeah.
thought that was a bit how you going. What are the other boys in 360 talking about? There's two things they're really hammering on about. One was the high tackles. What was the other thing?
There was the Payne Haas contract thing.
No, I don't think that's a
The
problem.
the RLPA standard.
Is that still going?
Yeah, apparently. There wasn't. I don't think there was really anything.
Nothing else.
Nothing
What do you
else.
think of the media sitting down by the players? I don't think it matters. I don't give a shit. Most of them can't talk anyway.
Yeah, like, what are we missing out on? Full credit to the boys for laid a great platform for me to play off the back of. There wasn't like, I don't mind it. Oh, it's Stavros.
Stavros, come home, legend. Your Knights are finally doing something, mate.
They are legit.
They are.
Yeah,
they should make the 8, but
it's in their hands now. They're in the 8, so
yeah. Well, last week we spoke about which teams you think are going to fall out. Have we changed since then? It's.
Did I not say the Cowboys?
You said the Cowboys would, but they're up against Brisbane. Come on, mate.
But they've lost 2 in a row now.
They got the bye. That's guaranteed 2 points this week.
I'm telling you now, it'll come down to that last game against Penrith. They'll need to win to make the 8, and Penrith will have the top 2 sewn up, and they'll rest half their fucking team and screw me over. I bet you that's what happens. And that'll be literally the Cowboys to a T this year. They'll be the most undeserving, overrated team to make the 8.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Their recent form, last 2 weeks not the best, but beside that, they will look like they'll storming home, but crashing back to earth very quickly. All right, let's get into this week's bets then. I've got 9 bets this week, Luke. I've taken a leaf out of your book. I've got 9.
God. I've got 4. I've swapped.
You got 4?
Yeah, I got 4.
Seems like you're down on confidence, mate. Is that what's going on?
Well, the last one I think I went 3-1 actually, or 2-2 at least. Couple of my futures bets have crashed, I'll admit. One being Sebastian Chris leading try scorer. I also have a bet. Remember Pappenhausen? Sure, I get that voided.
You should. Well, my Dragon Spoon one is hanging by a thread.
Yeah, you need a Tiger's miracle here, mate.
They've been pretty bad, but I think the Dragons and the Tigers playing very similar. I think that 4-point win to the Dragons a couple of weeks ago is what might save them. That Battle of the Spoon.
Yeah,
but not a bad call. But let's get into the first game. I got a bet on this one. So Thursday night, Manly versus Penrith. Penrith under $1.10, widely available. The line on this one is 19.5. Manly close to $10. This is at 4 Pines though, so Manly might have a chance. I had someone close to me on Manly correspondent say they checked out Brookie yesterday and today. Ground is very wet. Very wet. There was a bit of rain there. They're not expecting more rain throughout the week, but very wet, and it doesn't drain very well. Could be a chance of some wet feet beneath the players on Thursday night. So keep that in mind. I'm taking Penrith minus 20 here. So I've taken that extra half point. But
I'm in agreement. I don't have them, but
what do you mean? Why don't you have them? What's the go?
Just worried they'll take their foot off the gas and win 24-6 or something. But I think they're coasting now.
They are, but I think even coasting, they can cover 20 very easily. Manly are thin through the middle. Now,
you don't like Manly unders?
I considered it. I honestly did.
It's 11.5.
I know. I considered it, but when I looked back, it's Penrith kind of give up 1 to 2 tries to everyone, and if anything, their defense gets better as the opposition does. Teams like this somehow go over.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's where I think it's when Penrith take their foot off the gas, they might let in an extra try, but they'll probably pound 3 more. So I think I'm more confident in covering that 20 points than I am taking Manly unders because They could fall asleep. Fuck Schuster, chip and chase, something
No look
stupid.
at that. The old
Yeah.
no look pass.
Yeah, down 40, chip and chase. He celebrates to the crowd. Now you're only down 36. Like, what a Schuster thing to do. So I'm taking Penrith minus 20 on Ladbrokes. Really taking the 20 just for a push, just in case, but I don't think that happens. I'm also taking Penrith minus 29.5, $3.40 on Sportsbet. So
Oof.
a look around. Penrith minus 29.5. Some are offering $2.80, $2.90, $3. Sportsbet $3.40, baby. So
Interesting.
yeah, let's get amongst it. So we've got some interesting comments here. Watch the half point bucket. So the line on other bookers is 19.5. I've taken the 20. Opportunity for a push. Is there any risk here by that extra half point, Luke?
Nah. I don't think so.
No.
How much are you getting? But you done $1.90, is it, or $2?
$1.90.
Yeah, it's $1.80 for the 19.5 anyway.
Yeah, take the extra 10 cents, baby. But yeah, I'm taking a minus 30 points. I reckon they can dust these fuckers up. Penrith flying into the finals. Man, you're going to crash and burn. They got no forwards. They were
Lodge is gone as well.
Yeah, they've got Sean Kepi, but Paseka's still out. I think Alio is still out. They got nothing there, nothing doing in that middle. And Penrith, if anything, they don't slack off in the middle.
No.
These boys gone bang. So yeah, those are my two. So you're not backing anything in that game?
No. Staying clear, mate.
Staying clear. All right. The next one that I've also got to bet on is Cronulla Sharks versus the Gold Coast Titans. Sharks $1.28. I feel that's a little bit short. Titans at $3.72. The line's 10.5. Tino's back in, but Mo's obviously suspended. Sharks. What do you make of the Sharks last week? Is it more of the Rabbitohs were awful?
I
Were
think
the Sharks
excellent? Rabbitohs awful. Sharks were okay, don't get me wrong, but not convinced still that then it wasn't. Yeah, I thought that South team were fucking pathetic.
They were. So if you want to be critical of the Sharks, right? They only scored 26 points against the Rabbitohs. Anyone scoring 26 points against the Rabbitohs at the moment? And they fucking gave up so many points in the back end of the game. What does that say about your attitude?
Correct.
You might be happy with the win, but it's still a pretty average game for the Sharks, in my opinion. The Rabbitohs are just awful.
Yeah, well, if you go back, since round 19, the Dogs put 36 on them, was it? Yeah, 36 on them. You then had the Biden Broncos put 36 on them. The Tigers put 18 on them, and Cronulla put 26 on them. So not exactly humming.
Yeah. So anyway, to my bet. So I've asked Huncho in the chat. So young Huncho's gone overs for the Titans Sharks game. I've told him in the chat to tell me why. And the reason why I want to know why is because I'm taking the under. Under 49.5. That's widely available on all books. I've taken it on Sportsbet because that's where I donate the most. But I'm taking the unders here. Tino's back, so he's the heart and soul of the Titans. The Titans have been playing like they got a lot to play for. I really like the grit that they're starting to find. There is a very small chance that Cronulla have found their winning ways and they dust these motherfuckers by 40 and completely blow it out. I do not see it happening, though. A lot of games at PointsBet have been going unders as well. And I like the Titans to compete. I like them to stay gritty. I was questioning that 10.5, but that 49.5 is fucking huge. And it makes no sense. I think over the last 2 weeks, what do we get? 8 games a week. That's 16 games. I think, 11 or 12 have gone under.
Yeah.
And the ones that have gone under are the ones where the lines are high like this.
Yeah.
The bookies are baiting you into thinking there's going to be a shit ton of points. The Gold Coast Titans aren't the same Gold Coast Titans that we're used to seeing. So, and again, I'm not very impressed with what the Sharks did last week, to be honest. So, I think the Titans can keep it somewhat competitive. It'll be close. I'm thinking, a 26-16 scoreline perhaps. But yeah, I don't think more than 50 points get scored in this one. And there's Huncho. I thought the line would be 42
Big
so
calls it before
49 and a
season.
half is the line, and I'm taking that sucker unders. You got anything on this game or any other thoughts?
Yeah, Titans plus 10.5.
Oh, tell me why.
Basically what you said. I'm not even. I think Titans are. Oh, they've left their run late, but they're a team I feel like.
Well, they got robbed. Remember, they got robbed.
Yeah, if they were in the 8, I would say they could cause an upset. Yeah, just not convinced the Sharks. So, and Tino's big in. I know they lose Fodawaker, but Tino's a huge in for them.
Yeah.
Campbell played really well last week as well.
Oh, he was so fucking good. A lot of, I think, was it old Denon on Bloke in the Bar? They were talking about the Titans fiasco and what's happening. And they've got AJ, and they're trying to talk through who's better at fullback, him or Campbell. And I think Campbell's a better fullback. And I think on that podcast, all of them, Guru and the other bloke, they're all talking about how, Brimson's underrated. He doesn't get the raps that he deserves, which I think is bullshit. He gets picked for Origin.
I was going to say he played Origin, but also I feel like he's always injured as well.
He is always injured, but I think that's partly why he doesn't get the raps. But at the same time, sometimes he does some cool stuff, but he does. I don't like his meters. His support play is not that great. Maybe defensively he's better than Campbell, but shit, Campbell offers so much X factor, and you can just see the effort. He puts so much effort in, and he touches that ball so many times.
Yeah,
he's a freak. And I reckon, if you swapped him and Reece Walsh, Campbell probably plays Origin for Queensland.
Probably.
Absolute freak. But anyway, I got the unders. You got the Titans. The Sharks haven't been impressive yet. If they blow these fuckers away this week, I might think otherwise. But till I see that, I'm not touching them. On to the next one. Friday night, Brisbane versus Parramatta. This is at the Gabba. Brisbane's $1.30. The line's 10.5 in this one. I'm taking my boys minus 10.5. $1.92 on Sportsbet. That's the best place to get it if you're comparing across all the books. Before I go into why, I want to hear what your thoughts are. You got anything on this?
I don't have anything on this. Not confident.
Coward.
I've got you guys in a similar basket as I think you guys are legit, but even against the Cowboys, there were times there where through the middle it was looking a bit shaky. The first half in particular.
The pace was too high, mate. That's all it was. The game was fast as fuck.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm worried, are they going to play for the minor premiership? Or
they are.
They're
playing for the minor premiership.
Going all in? Okay.
Kevy said he's not resting anyone. Doesn't matter what. No one's getting rested.
That's a risky thing to do. Yeah, and I just think, it's hard. I just think Para will be better. I just think the line's too big. So I'm staying away from it. I think, I'll tip Broncos and stuff, but I just think that's a bit too short for my liking.
I don't think it's short enough. I think we blast these motherfuckers by at least 20. So I'm also taking Brisbane minus 19.5. $3.14 on Sportsbet. Better than everywhere else, I tell you that. I reckon we blast these motherfuckers because I think the Cowboys team we pumped last week will beat this Parramatta team. They actually did.
I was going to say, Para beaten you last 2 in Queensland as well.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me at all.
And then you played them. Remember you played them up in Darwin early in the year? He's only won by 10. And that was...
Yeah, we gave it to them. That was their home game. But the Parramatta team that we see now is very different to the one that we saw at the start of the year. Even though they were a bit sluggish, we're all very hopeful that they're still a contender, right? Regardless of how shit they were playing. It's been long enough to know that they're not. They deserve to be where they are. They're sitting 9th on the table at the moment. That's where they deserve to be because they're just as shit as all those other teams. Cowboys, Roosters, South, all those fucking wankers, the Sharks, they all fit in the same bucket. They're underwhelming teams, overhyped. They're all disappointed in their fan bases, and Parramatta's left it too late. I don't think they're going to get it here. I think the Broncos absolutely eat these motherfuckers. They gave up. There's my man Huncho. The Eels leaked so many points last week against the Dragons. That's worrying. Wait till you see what the Broncos do. I think we only completed it under 70% last week. Still put 30 points on. We tidy out that completion rate. We can run a train through these motherfuckers. And our bench is a lot stronger. There's his dog shit. Dill Brown, his hands don't look the same as they used to. He's probably kept him in his pockets for the last 8 weeks. So he's not the same bloke. They got Bailey Simonson on the wing again. He's a much better center than he is winger. So they're looking for they got problems out on the edge. They got RC and Simonson playing on one edge. Up against what? Staggs and Cobbo. Good luck to your friend. So I reckon we run riot on these motherfuckers. I don't think Brisbane win the premiership, to be honest. I think we're going to push the gas every single week and probably lose in a prelim. But
You reckon?
I think we're going to gas some teams. I think we're going to gas some teams out on the way. We're going to go too hard, too early.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And it would be sad. I obviously want us to go all the way, but
I reckon your prelim will be against Melbourne at some court.
And I think that finals
think
experience and all that type of shit, that's when it's going to come to the fore. We're a better team than Melbourne, but against Melbourne, there's this aura. There's something that hangs over us until we're able to break that.
Yeah.
Regardless of how well Melbourne are traveling. Melbourne's just one of those teams. Like, we know that Melbourne have the edge on us. They're not a better team, but they have the edge. It's the same thing with Melbourne versus Penrith. Melbourne can't beat Penrith. It's not going to happen.
It's flipped now. It used to be different. It used to be we could never, but now like we just we're okay playing them. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, it'd have to be someone like South to beat Penrith, regardless how fuck they're going. When South are on, they can beat Penrith. Brisbane probably can, but they don't have the track record. We beat you once when you guys were awful. So
that's why South's a third favourite to win the comp.
Yeah.
They're fucking 8th.
That's right. And I don't disagree with that. Shit pricks. I think we've just got to wait till they push the button. But look, for this game, Broncos minus 10.5 and Broncos minus 19.5. Let's get it. Into your slutty Saturday. Speaking of Souths, they're $1.10 against the Dragons on Saturday afternoon.
That's
absolute schmozzle. That is disrespectful. The Dragons are missing Lomax, though. He's a big out. Frankie Mole's out too. And the Rabbitohs pretty much have a very similar. They got Tane Milne. But I'm taking Saints plus 19.5. But what have you got? You on the same?
I'm on the same.
On the same. You tell me why. You preach, homie.
South lazy, slow. That
gutless dog.
That try that Katoa scored. Latrell didn't even bother turning.
Oh, yeah,
lazy. Yeah. I think 19. I'll take the start, and I think it'll be close. Like
I'm ready to say the coaches lost the dressing room. I'm waiting for that to come out.
Nah, I reckon he'll be under a bit of heat next year, though, if they fall out of the 8 this year. Because their squad at the start of the year, again, they had the game to beat Penrith. To be honest, that's probably the one time a team has taken it to Penrith for 80 minutes. The Bronx round 1, but Penrith were just so clunky those first few rounds. But since then, the only team to go with Penrith toe-to-toe at full strength was South. And if they don't make the 8, that's fucking crazy. So I just think, I think 9.5 is too much. The only thing, one thing I will add as well is Dragons are awful on the road. They're 0-10 away from home this year, 5-5 at home. So they're at home. So they're definitely a better team when at home. They don't like traveling. So
I think I was a bit hesitant because, firstly, I was looking at the Dragons' total points because we know South can't stop anybody. I think it's at 15.5, but no Lomax. I don't know who's kicking. Do you know who'd be kicking?
Good question.
Is it Sloan or something? I don't know.
Who kicked when he was out before, when he was dropped?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. They probably didn't score any tries, but it could be Amon. I don't know. Amon or Sloan. One of them seems familiar. But I think this game's out at Cairns.
Oh, fuck. There goes my away record then. Fuck. I think it is too. Yeah, it's a fucking road trip. Oh.
Yeah, it's at Cairns. But I think 19.5 is too big. The Dragons, ever since the...
So I went back to round 11. They had Jaden Sullivan kick 1 conversion. They had Jack Bird kick another, and Moses Mbye kick 1.
Yeah. Well, Jack Bird's out, I think, or he's a chance to be out. So I don't know who's going to kick. Hopefully, fuck. If it's Brad Villar scoring all the points, just assume they're going to score 4. Just don't bother kicking and just get the game on, I reckon. But But yeah, 19 and a half, bit too big. Since the Dragons sorted out the whole Ben Hunt bullshit, they've been quietly competitive. Still losing, of course,
Yeah.
but losing 1-12. They're putting in effort. I think that new coach, he's got their buy-in. He just doesn't have a team good enough to compete. But I think he's got their buy-in. They're putting in, and it's like Ben Hunt's not having to do everything either. He's not being their savior. He's not carrying the team. He's just doing his job. And I feel like Amon's better. Sloane's still wildly inconsistent, I must say. But I think, they're missing Jack DeBellin as well, actually. So missing some grunt in the middle. Jack DeBellin and Molo are out. But this is South, their forward pack's not great anyway.
Tom Burgess is out as well.
Burgess is out. They still don't have Totola, who's the main forward they have. Joey Arrow's back's going to give out halfway through this game anyway. And they've got Shaq Mitchell. Like, their props are not very intimidating. I think Block Laurie and Michael Molo will be fine. So, yeah, I think 19 and a half is too big. And I think my issue with South, if you compare it to someone like the Roosters, right? These glamour clubs who you expected to be in the top 4, at least with the Roosters, you can see the effort they're putting in every week.
Yeah.
So much effort. It's just not clicking. Whereas with South, you don't even see the lack of effort, and they just click for a small period of time to get some points.
Yeah. Just shows difference.
Yeah, they're not bought in. I think when your best player is someone like Latrell Mitchell, who's pretty carefree about everything, when things aren't going well, that can be seen as not giving a shit.
Yeah.
He's rubbing off on the other players, probably in a negative way. Like, Cody's not getting angry and blowing up or nothing. He's very passive.
He's very passive. He's kind of like he doesn't care. It's weird.
It's like he doesn't care. And it's
waiting for Jack White next year.
Because he cares. That bloke cares.
He does. So, he's competitive.
Like, I don't even think Cody Walker hasn't even been involved in a stink for a long time. So
yeah,
just shows how much he gives.
Maybe that's what they need.
Yeah, but look, we're both on the Dragons. Be very interested to see what happens to this line. And I think a lot of punters will be hopeful that South clobber these guys by 30, so that line could move. But yeah, you can't bet on hope, my friend. I think recent form and everything just tells us that 19.5 is a steal. Like, the South should still win this game, but 20 plus points, the Dragons will probably still score 2 to 3 tries. So, and I can't see them leaking 30 to 40 points. So let's take those Dragons. Into some more shorties. We've got the Tigers versus the Warriors. Warriors are $1.18. I think this game's played in Hamilton in New Zealand, North Island.
Yep.
Not very. The Tigers, I said earlier, very similar to the Dragons. They're losing every fucking game, but they're putting some effort. I think their team that lining up this week is probably one of the strongest they put out all year. Laurie at 6 is good. Brooks is back. Appy's playing great. Young fullback Jerome Buller, I think he's probably not getting better every week, but he's clearly good enough to play at this level. And they come up against the Warriors. So the Warriors on a nice little win streak, but the last 2 weeks haven't been the best. They've been sneaking over some wins. I think 1 point win against Canberra. They only beat the Titans by like 10 points, and they fucking versed 12 players for 60 minutes. Bit underwhelming. I'm personally on the Tigers plus 15.5. But what are you thinking on this one?
I've stayed away from it, but I like that bet. Yeah, but the Warriors are consistent, and that's the only thing with the Tigers. The shit Tigers could show up, and it could get ugly. But yeah, the Warriors, whilst again, they're bad. Their shit hasn't been that bad. That's the difference this year.
And I think we see a shit version of the Warriors this week, which means they'll still win because they're best and worst, not the gap's closed. But what I think is happening with this Warriors team, I feel like we're starting to see a bit of fatigue set in.
Yeah.
They've over-delivered all year, and to your point, they have been very consistent. And I think they're starting to fatigue towards the back end of the year.
And they've got to keep playing because like that top 4 is so important, and
especially from New Zealand.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage. They're technically though 4 points in the 4 because the Raiders are on 30 points, but their for and against is horrific. So Raiders would need to go past them
Yeah.
Storm could, win, and even the Storm they're falling against. So like they're really
And
4
Storm
points
reversing the
clear.
Raiders this week, right? So one of the ones chasing them is going to fall further back.
Correct. And if the Sharks show up, maybe, but yeah. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I think the Warriors are starting to slow down. And I think what gives me some confidence about the Tigers, you notice that there's no pressure on the Tigers?
Yeah, I think everyone's just accepted that they're awful. I don't know, like,
There's no pressure. They're fucking the
Mm.
worst team. They got 3 wins all year, and there is no pressure. And the reason why is because they're playing better. They're competing
Yeah.
in every single game. They're losing by 1 to 12 margins. Brooks is playing
Yeah.
better. Happy's doing work. No one's talking shit about the Tigers. Hasn't come up for a long time.
True.
So there's no heat on them. I think the Warriors are getting tired. I think, 15.5 is a lot. So you can get 15.5 on Ladbrokes, 14.5 everywhere else. So and you can still get that at $1.90, I think. So go get it, boys. I'm on the Tigers. Up the Dogs. Then we roll into the Roosters versus Dolphins on Saturday night. Roosters $1.33 favorites. Who would ever thought that? Shit pricks. The line in this one is 9.5 points. Roosters looking at redemption after the Dolphins beat them in round 1. What are your thoughts on this game?
Oh, I don't know which team's going to show up. I don't know with either of these teams anymore. Roosters obviously have the slimmest odds to make the 8, but look at that. They've got the worst attack in the comp apart from the Tigers. That's how bad they are. They're for and against, again, negative 100. So if you're going to bet on something, you just get on them to flog the Dolphins because they have to. Like, they can't, I think even a win now, yeah, put them 26 points, but they still need to win again. I would just back them to flog because I think also the Dolphins take the first 10 rounds out. They are really struggling.
Yeah.
Bombed a chance the other day against the Knights, but yeah, they're crumbling. There's no depth in that squad, so they're always going to suffer towards the second half of the season. They've just 22 points though. Yeah,
I think they've done all right. For me, I'm taking the Roosters 1 and 12. I think the Dolphins always find ways to score points. Like if you watch them, when you watch the Dolphins play, it's like it's not like, oh, what a great attacking team. They just have these spurts where things click.
Yeah, they take chances.
Yeah, not afraid to take some risks. I think Wayne trusts them to be free, play some footy. Whereas the Roosters, things haven't clicked in attack. Efforts there in defense. Up against the top teams, they'll struggle. But one lean I was thinking was Dolphins under because this is a massive game to the Chooks. It's huge. And I think defensively is where they need to be at their best. Their attack is shit, and I don't expect it to get too much better. But they have the cattle to win this game on defense alone because it's do or die for them every single week. They'll obviously want to blow them out by 20, but I can't see them score enough points. But also the Dolphins they just find ways to score points. It's crazy. Whether it's a Sarko, the hammer, shit just happens. So I'm just, playing half of my other stakes. Got Roosters 1 to 12, $3.10 on the tab. It's like $2.80 everywhere else or something like that. I think the Roosters win, but I don't think they absolutely dominate. I think and if they do happen to dominate at stages throughout this game, the Dolphins can sneak in some pointless points towards the end of the game. Roosters 1 to 12 for me.
I like it.
Into Sunday. I'm surprised this Melbourne Storm game's not at 4:00. We've got to deal with the Knights and the Dogs, but Storm $1.29 favourites, Canberra $3.62. Looking back at history, for some reason, it tells me that Canberra always put in good effort. It's just I get this feeling they put good effort in against Melbourne. They always tend to keep it close. But Canberra is Canberra. They tend to keep it close whether they win or lose. That's just how they play. So I'm taking Melbourne 1-12, $3.10 on tab. There's going to be some sort of bounce back after getting pumped, but I think the 1-12 at over $3, it's pretty horny for me. Jerome Hughes is back. I think Coates is back. Ruben Smith is a chance. Canberra are missing Seb Chris, but I think where Canberra are stronger than Melbourne Hughes in their forward pack. I still think their forward pack's a lot better, and that's how they operate. So I think Melbourne get away purely with the class of their back line, but I don't think they absolutely blow these fuckers out. What are you thinking?
I've got them plus 10.5. Was it 10.5? Yeah, Raiders
You got the
10.5.
Raiders? Why is that?
Melbourne, whilst they're sitting fourth, fourth. It's hard to say, they've been average, but they've been average this year.
Yeah, I've been saying that for weeks. Weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah, they're just not absolutely convincing any week they play. And this is no different. Even though they say Hughes is back, he always goes down with random niggling injuries, eh? He's not.
What was the last one? What was he out for? Was it hamstrings? He's had a few hamstring problems.
No, it was his. Oh yeah, it was his knee or something, and then it got worse. And the way, because I did listen to the press conference, and Bellamy kind of described it like, the scans didn't pick up anything.
Oh, the ankle.
He did the captain's run and got worse. Like it was, and they still. I don't know if they've diagnosed it, so I don't think he's 100%. So I don't think there's a chance he might not play, which I think plays into the 10.5 anyway.
Yeah.
They're just, they'll be like that robotic team, but I think Raiders can keep it close. They are very good at that.
Yeah. All right, we're aligned to that one. Last game of the round in Newcastle versus the Dogs. The line's 10.5 here. I chose not to play on anything right now. I might put something on Sunday, but what are you thinking? The Knights are a hype train. The Dogs are.
I'm on the train,
but you're on the train.
I'm on the train. Minus 10.5. Home crowd. They'll get like 25,000. This is probably the most excitement around Newcastle since probably Bennett. Like, what was it, 2013, 14 or something? So, expecting a dry, fast deck, which is going to suit Ponga. And I think they don't mind playing the Dogs. Last time they beat them by 66-0. So, I don't think it'll be that big, but I think they'll still win comfortably.
No Bradman Best.
Yeah. But if you look at the last time they played, even the Dogs, they can see through the middle. They just get carved up through the middle anyway.
It's true. I think Jackson Hastings poured it on. Crossland scored some tries.
Crossland scored a double or maybe a triple.
Double. I think they both scored a double.
Yeah, they both scored double. They were just carving them through the middle. Even Ponga backing up through the middle. Bradman Best's try from memory, he literally picked it up from a scrum or something. Like that day, I think everyone scored bar the wingers. Like they just were destroying them through the middle, and I don't think this is going to be any different. I think Dogs obviously counting down, but I think they'll cover it.
Yeah, the Knights have put together a good 5-game stretch. Not convincing against the Dolphins, but the previous 4 games they were bloody excellent. So yeah, look, I can see it back at home. Last 2 home games they beat Melbourne, pumped the Tigers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I might make a play on that on Sunday, but for now, I think I'll just sit tight. Me and my 9 bets, but no, it's looking pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. Let me tell you. All right. What other goss and questions have I got for you?
Wade Graham announced his retirement.
Effective immediately?
I don't think it is. I think end of the season. Probably one more head knock.
You waiting for it?
Yeah, end of the season.
Season's end. Yeah, season's end. Yeah, I think it's the right time for him. Probably played his season too long, but he just can't cut it anymore. He moves like a prop. Has to play in the second row.
Yeah, he falls off tackles pretty easily as well.
He does. And he was famous for like those last tackles, those grubbers.
Yeah, that little grubber getting the repeat set. He's also good for a shot. He could shoot out of the line as well and put a hit on. So
yeah. So he's not doing any of those anymore. So good on him. Great career. We've got our Daft Previews Members Club meeting on the 19th of August. Will you be in attendance?
Where at?
We're going to the Cast, baby. We're going to the Cast to watch Super Saturday.
I think I could be free, actually.
All 3 games, all expenses paid. Thanks to Mark.
The Titans versus Panthers too. Oof.
Oh, yeah. So all expenses paid, food, drinks, even accommodation for those who need it. We've got a few people coming from interstate.
Really?
It's all happening. Yeah, well, Mark won $170,000. He's putting some of that cash up to fund the day. So
I like someone who supports a good charity.
Absolutely. So any of you watching it, any Sydney siders, come down to Star City Casino. on the 19th of August. We're there for Super Saturday, ripping through beers and many other things, I'm sure. But I'm pretty keen for that. But to everybody, thanks for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll be back next week to celebrate all of our successes from our bets. Hope you have a good one. See you later.
See ya.